This is your life. Now, the life we are about to relive is an American saga of courage and stamina that perhaps has no equal in the annals of sports or war, from the heroes of ancient Greece to our own day. For tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is your life, Louis Zamperini.
In 1929, Japan signed the Geneva Convention committing to provide basic human rights in POW camps. Louis Zamperini, a POW in World War II, is a tragic example of when Japan blatantly failed to uphold its responsibility for basic human rights. As a result, many Japanese captors were arrested. Louis' experiences as a POW had lasting effects on his mental and physical health, contributing to post-traumatic stress disorder and deathly addictions. In 1950, Louis felt the responsibility as a Christian to forgive his Japanese tormentors and to revisit Tokyo.
In 1931, Louis became an exceptional track athlete. Louis dominated at Torrance High School, setting school records, including tying the half mile and breaking the mile record. This talent caught the attention of local newspapers who said, "Boy oh boy, can that guy fly? Yes, that means that Zamperini guy."
In 1936, Louis earned a spot on the Olympic 5,000-meter track and field event team by winning second in the Olympic trials. Louis would be one of the 3 men America sent to compete in this event and one of the youngest. He came in 8th place, with the final time being 14.46.8. Louis may have come in 8th, but he beat the record for the fastest lap in Olympic history at 56 seconds. Louis' impressive finish caught the attention of the Führer of Germany, Adolf Hitler, who said, "Ah, you're the boy with the fast finish."
In the early 2 years of World War II, the Axis powers were quickly gaining European territory. In September of 1941, Louis felt the responsibility to join the many men who volunteered in World War II, giving up his future Olympic dreams.
As the war picked up, America soon discovered that Japan's militaristic culture focused on loyalty to the nation, dehumanized enemies, which would lead to the brutal treatment and oppressed rights of prisoner of wars during World War II. On May 27, 1943, a B-24 Liberator known as the Green Hornet was assigned to Louis and his crew for a search and rescue mission. The plane was not airworthy, but the lieutenant claimed it had passed inspection. After many mechanical difficulties, Louis' B-24 Liberator went crashing into the Pacific along with 11 American soldiers. At 4:30 a.m., Green Hornet was declared missing.
Louis and his 2 flight crew members, Mack and Russell, survived the deadly crash. On July 14, 1943, after drifting 2,000 miles for 47 days, Louis Zamperini and his comrades were found near the Marshall Islands by the Japanese Navy, having lost over half their body weight. Louis referred to himself as a dead body breathing. When Louis mentioned being shot at by a Japanese plane while drifting, the Japanese officers were shocked, claiming that it was impossible, a violation of their military code of honor.
On July 16th, Louis and Phil were placed in a cramped, small wooden cell, no taller than 7 feet and no wider than Louis' shoulder width on Kwajalein Island.
The cell was covered in rodents and bugs, and the stench of human waste filled the hot air. They were given only a small ball of rice 3 times a day. Guards tortured, starved, and taunted them daily, throwing rocks and jabbing sticks through the door.
On August 26, 1943, Louis was taken to Camp Ofuna, an interrogation camp for high-value prisoners. There, he faced beatings, starvation, taunting, and harsh penalties for failing to meet labor demands. Ofuna was a secret from the outside world, and the Japanese did anything they desired. POWs were confined to cramped barracks, which facilitated the rapid spread of diseases like malaria and bacterial infections due to unsanitary conditions and inadequate healthcare. POWs worked long hours in exhaustion and were expected to perform at optimal levels. This is just another representation of POWs' oppressed rights. After limited food, no sleep, and harsh labor, POWs were weakened to an average weight of 100 pounds. This resulted in a high mortality rate.
In May 1944, Japan issued a kill-all order for all Japanese POW camps. By September of 1944, Louis was sent to a Mori camp in Tokyo Bay where he encountered Mutsuhiro Watanabe, known as the Bird, a sadistic psychopath.
He was hated by all NCO in Omori, Japanese NCO.
Why?
Why? No question. He was so violent.
The bird became obsessed with Louis due to his Olympic past and enjoyed beating him.
Zamperini and the other prisoners remember you in particular as being the most brutal of all the guards. How do you explain that?
ミリタリーオーダーでやったというんじゃなくて、やはり私自身の気持ちから見てフレンドにはならなかったですね。
On March 2nd, Louis and other prisoners were transferred to Natsu, where the bird, his tormentor, was now restationed.
However, all POWs at Natsu were commanded to be killed on August 22nd as World War II was ending. This was commanded to prevent POWs from testifying against Japan's illegal treatment. On August 20th, American planes flew over the camp, and POWs immediately celebrated their freedom and survival. When Louis finally returned home in late September 1945, after 2 long, torturous years, he was put right into the limelight by making newspaper headlines and TV interviews.
His harrowing journey started with his famous Olympic run and spiraled into a story of survival. He was nicknamed the man who came back alive.
While grateful to be home, Louis struggled with the rage from the brutality he endured. Louis suffered from PTSD and an alcohol addiction. Louis openly shared his horrible experience and talked about the illegal treatment of Japan and his oppressed rights. Louis is responsible for the arrest of many Japanese who failed to provide POWs with basic human rights during World War II. Louis wanted to bring attention and justice to the many men who sacrificed for us.
Louis' testimony reached Douglas MacArthur, who immediately responded by placing the bird on his 40 most wanted list. Louis is responsible for gathering enough bravery in recounting the details from World War II and exposing the harsh reality of his wartime captivity, which brought significant attention to the conditions of POWs. These men rose to the challenge and were responsible for the war's outcome. America wouldn't be where it is today without these men who fought for what they believed was right, and Louis Zamperini was among them.
Louis Zamperini is a tragic example of countries failing to uphold their responsibility to basic human rights. Despite being completely disrespected and abused by his Japanese abusers, Louis found a way to forgive those who had caused him so much damage. Even though his rights were entirely stripped from him, he wrote a letter to Michihiro Watanabe about how he had forgiven him for the pain he had caused.
This is to Matsushiro Watanabe, was to the tension of stress and humiliation that caused me to hate with a vengeance. Under your discipline, my rights not only as a prisoner but also as a human being were stripped from me.
After attending Billy Graham crusades, Louis' life drastically turned and his anger turned into love. Louis traveled to Japan shortly after, visiting the prison containing many of Louis' captors. He preached about God's love and forgiveness and led many to Christ. So many people were impacted by Louis' story that he was invited back to Japan to run a leg in the Olympic torch run running past his past POW camp. After being afloat for 2,000 miles of American and Japanese territory and surviving 4 Japanese POW camps with no rights, Louis is considered an American hero. Louis' life is a powerful testimony of the strength of the human spirit and the ability to forgive. Despite Louis' unimaginable hardship through World War II from Japan's illegal prisoner of war treatment, Louis was able to rise above his anger and hate and forgive the Japanese, ultimately strengthening Japan and American relations. Louis was a symbol of hope to America during World War II, as Louis was known as the man who came back alive. His story is told worldwide with multiple books, articles, and documentaries covering his incredible survival story, bringing attention to POW's oppressed rights. We are lucky to have him as an American soldier because his first-hand accounts of his experiences teach us so much about the tortures some Americans have had to sacrifice for us.